Hey, this is Masati. Welcome to this episode of Moss on Sunday, Life Explained. Where Life Explained, where basically I get into the core level or the first principle level on what life is about. Because a lot of times, we go through life and we get so confused, and there's so many different, say, explanations, and all those explanations will have holes. There's always an exception to the rule. But as I explain life to you, using the first principles method, again, the highest value, you start to understand. It's like, oh, that's why it is, right? You start to find the real reason why. And scientists, Elon Musk, he always talks about the first principle. Again, if you have, say, a concept or a belief system that you operate your life by, and there's exceptions to that rule, or somebody brings up an exception to that rule, don't shun those individuals like a lot of people do. The woke crowd, right? It's like if you don't like what if they don't like what you believe in, then they shun you, they try to destroy you and all that, right? They shut you down. Unfortunately, again, that's not the way to go, because it limits us, and we don't learn from each other. We don't learn as a society, and so on. So this this episode of Life Explained is literally about explaining the real reasons on why life is, and then what you can do to change. Also, the upcoming new podcast format, XI podcast, Exponential Intelligence Podcast. Look out for that brand new season, and that's going to be about life explained. First definition principles on, like honor, sacredness, love, and everything else. So look for that podcast as well. We'll jump right in. This is really a juicy subject for a lot of people. A lot of movies, in fact, a lot of movies, like almost every movie, it's about the dark side of love, right? So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to talk about jealousy, insecurities, honesty, dishonesty, secrecy, control, manipulation, lust without love, love without lust, and then when you should break up. Okay. All right. So again, comment in. I'll answer some of the questions if it resonates. And then afterwards, I'll scan you, see where you are in love, and then help you move forward on that. First of all, why, if we have love, love is supposed to be a good thing, right? Love is supposed to expand us. Love is supposed to nurture us. Love is supposed to, help us, become stronger. And that's a concept that, nature uses. That's a concept that, we're accustomed to. That's concept of your genetics, or you're actually wired to understand love in that format. Again, you're actually wired for the first definitions of all these things that we wonder about. You naturally are inherently know the deeper, say, the true or the pure definition of, in this case, what love is about. But we operate from a very different standard, right? Through society's beliefs, through your heritage, through what you've inherited, through your experience, and then we move away from that first or that pure principle definition, and then it really messes us up. So again, this is really about. Just give me 1 second, guys. Oops. There we go. This is about bringing, say, that concept, deep inside is true, but then why can't you have it? And this is where the dark side of love comes in. Okay, so let's take a deep breath in, and we'll make it an experiential experience rather than just me talking about it. Although even if I'm just talking, you feel my frequencies, and that's how we transform and shift, by the way. In XI, where you become exponentially intelligent, I shift you and I massively transform you in a very short period of time, so you understand, know what your true purpose is, to bring in meaningfulness in life. I don't know if that's a word, meaningfulness, but it sounds good, so we'll use it. So bring in meaningful in life. Again, not by using psychology or anything like that, but by using frequencies to transform you into, say, a different perception of yourself, or a different simulation of yourself, which is really cool and really fast. All right, so let's jump in. The dark side of love. So take a deep breath in, get comfortable, get situated, and we're going to go through all those topic points that I mentioned: jealousy and insecurities. We'll go through that, and then I'll explain how the normal, most of society does it, and why it's so destructive, and why it gets so dark. And then I'll explain the true definitions of those things on what you're supposed to be, so then you can choose. And then this allows you to transform your relationships. Breath in again. Also, I'd like to point out that many of you, and there's many courses out there, right, that talk about love, and then they show you how to attract love, and it's always about, well, you do this, you have a date night, you do this, and you do that, you be, I don't know, you listen, right? Men listen to their spouses and so on like that, and that's how you get closer. Not really, because you're forcing yourself. The underlying, say, pattern that you've inherited, again, social structures, genetics, and so on, your life experiences, those dictate who you really are and how much love you're sending out to that person, not your physical, say, interaction with that person. Once you have it down pat inside you, then listening becomes a natural for you. If that person needs you to listen, you naturally will be there for them. You don't go, oh yeah, yeah, my wife wants me to listen because then she'll feel more loved. Oh yeah, so, does that make sense to you? It doesn't. It doesn't work out well because you're faking it. You're acting. You're putting on an act. This is where you really want to be. You really want to operate again internally from that first principle definition of what love is really about. And that's what I'm going to get you there into. And I'll even, yeah, we'll go into the deep state meditation later on. After I explain all the details, the distortions of how we see, manipulation and lust and so on, I'll get you into that deep state on what love should be, so you have a reference point to seek. Take a breath in again. Notice your heart space. Notice your solar plex area. And then notice the back of your head. Somebody's wishing me a happy birthday. Thank you. So again, the back of your head, heart, solar plex. As I tap into the group, many women have been devastated. They've offered themselves for love, lost their self-respect, or sacrificed themselves. Your groin area. Breath in again. Notice how you feel. Some of you might feel really, really great. Some of you not so great, as you go, shit, that's what I did for love. Holy crap, what the hell happened? Why did I do that? So again, if you're in that space, it's a great opportunity for you to let it go, not go, oh God, I don't feel good. This guy doesn't make me feel good. I'm just showing you the truth. And then once you know the truth, you let go of the bullshit that you were living. That's all. Okay. So again, if you're not feeling good while you're listening to Moss on Sunday or anything else that we do, it's a great opportunity because you've elevated yourself to a higher level and you're letting go the bullshit that you used to live. All right. So jealousy and insecurities. Okay. So jealousy, insecurities, in the normal process or the standard on how people run is that, say you fall in love with somebody and then you covet that person. Right. So it's a coveting process. It's like, gosh, you know what? I'm really insecure about myself. And if that person finds out how insecure I am, then they're going to leave me. So you get jealous. And then this is where, you covet that person, or you pull that in, or you limit that person. And this is where that person feels strangled. It's crazy stuff, right? This is where that person feels strangled, and then they start moving further away. Then you start getting more and more jealous. You start getting more and more insecure. And then, you put a thicker rope on that person. And then that person feels that heavier weight on them. And it's like, oh God, I got to get out of this relationship, right? And then you pull even tighter. Then all of a sudden it's like they're gone. And it's like, fuck, what happened? And then you double down on your insecurities. You don't release them. You just double down on your insecurities and you go, next time I'm going to do this. Nobody ever asks. It's like, well, what pattern or what is it in me that's allowing this person to, or allowing me to feel jealous? Okay. Again, it's not about the other person. Although, people go, well, they're always looking, he's always flirting, or she's always flirting and all that. Sure, they are. Again, they'll always come back to you, even if they run those types of patterns, if you yourself are solid and they always have something better to come home to. They'll never leave you. Okay? So take a deep breath in. Do you run those patterns? And be honest. Notice the first answer that came into you from the back of your head, from your heart space, your solar plex, or the groin area, right? If you got a sick feeling, you run those patterns. If it said, yep, that's me. Again, how many of you go, yep, that's me, or that used to be me? But since I've done XI, I know what that's about. All right. So again, jealousy, insecurities, it's about you being afraid, especially as people get older, right? It's like they think that they're less attractive. They've got less to give or less to offer. That's another aspect of insecurities. We have less to offer, so we better lock down now on somebody, right? We better entangle them, and that's how what we use jealousy. And this is where that I've seen, and I've seen 100,000 client sessions. This is where I see people, and I see the relationships. Oh, it's like, oh shit, you got married because you didn't want to lose that person. Simple as that. And that's why a lot of women do. It's like, oh, and that's what a lot of women have been trained. It's like, honey, just marry them as quick as you can so you can lock them in. So we don't have to worry about your sorry ass if, later on in life. Basically, that's what they're telling their daughters, unfortunately, right? That's what they do. It's like, oh, honey, marry them. He's secure. He's a doctor. He's a lawyer, right? Don't worry about love. Just marry him so we don't have to worry about you. And then he can support you. Again, that's another aspect of the dark side of love, right? All cultures do that. A lot of religions do that. It's never about love when people get married, or very, very little. Again, from the hundreds of thousands of client sessions, I would say less than 1% actually got married because they actually loved each other. So, which is really sad, right? All right, take a deep breath in. So jealousy, in this case, you could actually use your jealousy, because jealousy in its first principle definition, or the highest definition, that is, say, God-given, or you are naturally inherited, is in your cellular biology. This definition, by the way, I'm not making it up. It's just I can tap into your higher version. It's like, oh, that's what's in your DNA. Okay, so in your DNA, jealousy and insecurities are really fantastic tools for you to enhance who you really are. Okay, jealousy basically, or insecurities basically tell you, it's like, shit, you know what? I got to work on myself. But then most people, again, don't really work on themselves. They put on more makeup, they put on more scantier clad clothing and so on. If you look at societies, from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 2000s and so on, women's clothing and so on, like that, less and less. So they've become more and more insecure. Again, it's a sign of insecurity, by the way, ladies, not a sign of strength or not a sign of freedom, because deep down inside, you're very insecure. So you have to say, again, wear those types of clothes, by the way, to make you feel better, to make you more attractive. But it doesn't really help you all, by the way. And men, same with cars. I've got more money. I've got a bigger yacht, right? Those are insecure patterns. So you need to work on yourself. So insecurities for you, first definition, is literally telling you that, hey, you know what? There's something going on. You're not really connected to your grander version, your limitless possibilities of who you are. You're running another program. You're another pattern that is devastating you, that is going to devastate you, if it hasn't yet. You need to step back and center yourself. So it's a centering reference, a lot like your cars nowadays. Okay, you go off the lane, right? If that lane, or even a Tesla, right? You move over from that lane, and then, you get this little buzzer or this little beep, and then it pulls you back. So insecurities are just like that centering program on cars. You have that same thing. So insecurities tell you, it's like, hey, you know what? You should be here. but you're running over here. And again, what people do is they double down on their insecurities, or they hide their insecurities. Or, if you're driving that car and that car says, hey, you're off the lane, you're gonna veer into the ditch. Basically what you're going is like, fuck, I'm not gonna listen to that buzzer, that warning sign. I'm just gonna ignore it. Or even better yet, I'm just gonna double down and do whatever I'm doing to make me more insecure as I age, especially when you start to lose your attractiveness. That makes sense to you. So again, insecurities in its pure version goes, hey, you're off center. How do I center myself back? So if you are insecure, again, use it as the tool that it was there for. Jealousy. Once you start to accept yourself, and a lot of people, again, comment in on, say, you do the 18-day hyper meditations that transform your life in 18 days, or some of the other meditations that we do, which is really quite amazing, by the way. I did a vascular health, really amazing. Those who, and it's really amazing concept on, healthier vascular systems. By the way, I just want to know how many of you tried the vascular health. I tried it, and it was amazing for me. It really helped my lungs, by the way. Anyway, back to jealousy. So as you start to awaken who you are, as you start to realize the grandness that you are, as you gain that self-respect from yourself, as you start to learn, it's like, gosh, you know what? I'm weak in that area. I'm weak in that area. I need to fix myself up. I need to strengthen. I need to clean up, get stronger, know why that weakness exists in me. And then as you've done that, you've become, again, more, say, attractive. Okay. And this is where jealousy comes in. And it's really cool. You start to get jealous of people. And this is where, as you ascend, as you say, as awakened, and again, you start to get jealous. This is where you go, gosh, you know what? And this is how jealousy works. It's like, oh, that woman is prettier, or that man is, has got more money. He probably, I wonder who she had to sleep with to, get to where she is. Or, I wonder how corrupt that guy is because he's driving a nice car, right? That's the normal kind of jealousy that obviously doesn't work out for you. So XI jealousy, on the flip side, is literally about, hey, you know what? That woman looks really attractive. I like what she's wearing. It's like, why can't I wear that? I'm just as good as her. Do you notice it turns it around? It's like, yeah, I am as good as her. And then it elevates you. So jealousy is actually a tool in your cellular biology to go, gosh, you know what? I'm just as good as that person or that thing, or why can't I have that? It's not about the other person. So if you turn that around, and then it allows you to be you, it allows you to, again, pump yourself up. So jealousy allows you to, say, enhance yourself. It's the drive of who you are. It allows you to get better and better and better. And allows you to learn from others rather than to destroy others. Insecurities, as you're driving and you're driving faster, the insecurities allow you to, again, adjust your lane to go, gosh, I want to be on center because, if I'm here, then I get egotistical and then fall into a ditch, right? Or too arrogant and all that. So again, jealousy is the powerhouse to get you closer to your more brilliant self. And this is where, as you age, you become more and more, say, attractive, by the way. And then insecurities, again, is the steering wheel for you. All right. So we'll go on to honesty, dishonesty, and because of time, I don't know, we might have to do part 2 on this. Honesty, dishonesty, secrecy. Again, it's the same thing. So we can run through it again. Take a deep breath in. Notice honesty, dishonesty, secrecy. How about you? Have you been dishonest with well, obviously yourself, but with other individuals, right? Or do you keep a lot of secrets because you can't be yourself in front of that person? That's why you have secrecy, right? It could be like, oh, I'm ashamed of who I am, so I'm going to keep this private or secret. Or that person is not strong enough because you're afraid that they're going to leave if you really told them some of the secrets that you have deep inside. So either way, it messes, say, the relationship up. Take a deep breath in. There we go. So again, notice if you're running those patterns. And then ask yourself, Why are you running those patterns? Is it because your partner is not strong enough to hear the truth about you, right? You actually want to have a partner, a loving environment where you can be, where you can be vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, you don't want to, you're not dumping on that person. Again, first principle, you're not just dumping and spewing, and then what you're doing, what most people do in this space is that they create more and more as they dump more and more onto their partner. Now, that's how most people do it. On the XI principles, what you want to do is that, you become vulnerable. That's why. Overall, dishonesty and secrecy is that your environment that you live in, you can't be vulnerable. And then when you're not, you can't be vulnerable. And it's not about being weak or anything like that. It actually makes you stronger. Right? That's another definition we can talk about vulnerability. But you're searching for a better environment, a safe environment to go, hey, you know what? I have this, and this issues. I have these weaknesses. This is what's happened to me in the past. Right. And then you talk about it, you converse, and you're not dumping your stuff on them. You're actually awakening. So you're letting go those patterns in its truer sense. But again, most times what happens is that people dump their stuff, and then the other person, they're too weak to create a solid environment for you. So they go, well, I don't want to hear it. And then they go, I don't know what to do with that. All you have to be is a strong person, a strong partner to just listen. And as you listen, they just, they, especially for women, guys, this is the most important thing to really, help your women grow. Again, you don't take on their problems. You just listen, allow them to talk it out, and then and don't give them solutions. But then as they become safe around you, okay, and as they start to trust you, what'll happen is like, oh yeah, you know what? I can disconnect from that pattern of mine. And then you don't have to worry about, say, hiding it or covering it or making them feel better or anything like that. They just naturally feel better on their own, and then, vice versa. And then you make them feel better even more. So that's where honesty, dishonesty, and secrecy come out. Again, not having a proper space to be vulnerable so you can let go, not dump on the person's here. You're not dumping on them. You just throw all those distorted, say, patterns or programs or experiences. You get to dump it in the garbage, not on them. And then what happens is that you get to expand, and they become more and more and more honest for you, in the relationship and yourself. Okay. All right. Control manipulation. So again, it goes back to insecurities, control and manipulation. A lot of people, you're right, they're very insecure about themselves, so they have to be the prettiest one. I know there's plenty of women, tons of women that I know, especially on the success scale, right? As they become more and more successful, or their identity is based on their beauty, they always scan the room, whoever they meet, and they always like, who does this? Who, especially in the women, who does, men do it in a different way, but women, it's like, oh, so is she more attractive than me? And that's what it's all based on. Is she more attractive or more sexual or sensual than me? Simple as that. It's just your rote instinct, guys. It's got nothing to do up here, but that's the weaknesses that you have. You always, always, always compare yourself to that other woman that's in the room. So basically, what you're saying is like, oh, if my partner was here, would my partner be attracted to that person versus me? That's what you're doing. So then what you would do is like, well, you talk shit about that other person, the person that you think is prettier or sexier or, better and better, whatever that you think, that person is better than you. This is where you start to control yourself. And then what happens, unfortunately, as you age again, especially for women, again, you think that you get become less attractive, but you don't have to. If you're really brilliant on the inside, you actually become more attractive. Or you can have both attractiveness and brilliance. But that you start to control. because you're losing control of the situation. You can't manipulate anymore. So you start to lie, to your partner, and then again, you talk shit about that person. So again, what you want to do to use control and manipulation right, okay, is that you understand yourself. Your beauty is not an outward presence of you. Okay, your beauty does not come from putting on more makeup or less clothes in the women's case, or having a bigger car or a bigger yacht or more money and so on like that. Back in the 50s, a pickup line in New York, 50s or 60s, was literally, is like, you'd walk up to a woman and you'd go, hey, you know what? I make, I don't know, $100,000 a year. And it was like, let's get to the point. Or women would just ask you before they started talking to you. It's like, well, how much money do you make? You know, Pretty raunchy, right? Anyway, back to control and manipulation. What'll happen is that as you reclaim yourself, as you understand that your inner beauty and your inner self, for men, it's intelligence, or again, providing security. What happens is that as you go inwards and you know that your inner beauty, again, ageless beauty, is within you, it makes you more attractive and prettier. So what happens here is, like, when you're in a situation, you start to control the environment. So no matter who is around you, if you're solid and secure, right, especially if you're doing XI, you'd be the most, say, confident, most attractive person in the room, no matter what you look like. How many people have done that? Again, when I walk into a room, for example, I work with a lot of high-level individuals. Uh, Again, you walk into the room, no matter what their title is, in a very short time, they all gravitate towards me as a leader. So that's where control is. That's where real control is. That you don't even have to say anything, right? You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. They don't have to know how much you make, or who you are, or anything like that. You walk into a room and it's like, whoa, who's that guy? In fact, I was at Faye and I, we were at this big seminar. I'm not going to tell names. Huge seminar, thousands of people, and we're always running late. So we get to our seats, we walk into our seats, and like everybody just like stares, especially at Faye. Everybody just like, whoa, and they weren't even paying. And even the speaker like stopped for a second. It's like, whoa, who are they? So that's where you want to be, and that's where you really control. Okay, manipulation for you is that, yes, you manipulate the standards, you manipulate what's around you, you manipulate, say, all the weak patterns in individuals. You manipulate them to a higher level, because as you again stand strong, you start to manipulate those other individuals to go, hey, you know what? They're even stronger. I'm as strong as them, right? So it starts to awaken them, which is really cool, because you're manipulating. Because as they elevate because of you, what do they do to you? So you're here, they're here, and then you're a strong being. Again, not through control or the old ways of manipulation. You're a strong being. You're here. You're shining your light, your brilliance, your attractiveness, your beauty. What happens here? You go, hey, you know what? That person is really cool. So then you elevate them. So the person that you were jealous or you're trying to, again, destroy, becomes your ally. It's the coolest thing ever, ladies and men. So they boo you, you lift them up. But what happens is that as they lift because of you, as they rise, you become more and more brilliant. And then it keeps going on and on and on and on, right? And that's where all parties, again, start to enhance themselves. It's really a cool concept. And that way, you're using control and manipulation the proper way. You're manipulating your environment to create a better outcome, not just for you, but for all. So that's where the true value of manipulation starts to come in. Again, when you learn something or when you become successful, if you're doing right, you manipulate others to go, oh, wow. I call it the Roger Bannister effect. It's like, wow, that guy did it. How did he do it? And again, it's not the physical techniques, it's the enhancement of your vibration or frequency. It's like, wow, I can vibrate at that as well. And it becomes a win-win for all. And that's the way, by the way, how you really say control or dominate. your industry, and anything else. In this case, relationships, to again ascend higher. Love without lust. Yeah, love without lust. So love without lust, right? And this is where abuse comes in. By the way, say that this is where. Okay, let's do lust without love first. Okay, what happens is that say that you're inadequate or you've been abused. Okay, what happens is that you find somebody, say a bad boy effect, right? You find somebody that is, that well, will abuse you. It allows you. So if you running an abuse pattern, okay, what will happen for you is that you need that abuse or more abuse to awaken you. So you'll find somebody that, in this case, will have crazy sex, awesome sex, and so on, and it's really, really good, and it feels really, really, invigorating, and so on for that moment. But when you're through, or when you're just sitting with that person, um, there's no love because you're running abuse patterns. And that's where you get that lust. You have that desire. You have that desire to abuse yourself. You haven't been abused in a long time, and you go, gosh, I need sex. No, you're just basically saying, it's like, shit, you know what? I need to abuse myself. And the way I do it, the worst way to do it, especially for women and men, is to, sleep with somebody without the love aspect of it. Okay. Now, I'm not saying one night stands or anything are bad. I'm not saying they're good, but if you do it right, like one night stands can enhance those individuals, can really awaken those individuals and go, wow, if it was with the right person, right? That person that can ignite that fire within you. And there's a lot of people, back in the day, or maybe even today, they have a one night stand, and it's like, wow, that was really amazing, and that's it. It's just a one night stand, but again, it lighted their fuse. That, say, their marriage had died down, that was snuffed out. It just invigorated them, and they're better off in their marriage. Okay, but that's a whole different subject we can talk about. So again, lust without love is literally like you run abuse patterns, and you need those abuse patterns fulfilled. The best way to abuse yourself, again, is giving of yourself, because when you have, say, sexual activities, what will happen is that you'll draw or you'll pull. So most of the time, the women pull the spiritual frequencies into them, and this is where it feels euphoric. But then afterwards, it feels disgusting for women, right? The reason why they're disgusted with themselves, not because they gave themselves away, although that's part of it. It's because it's like, God, I've got this guy's gross bullshit within me, right? The frequencies, you literally inhaled their frequencies and all their drama and all their diseases and all that stuff, not at a physical level, at a frequency level. So that's where lust without love is. Love without lust is that what happens with that is that take a breath in, by the way. We'll settle in. So love without lust, it's an interesting concept, is that again, you feel safe and secure, but then you run patterns of you run patterns through religious practices, through a lot of times what happens in this case is that to protect you, especially with women, right? To protect you, what happens is that your parents told you that love was dirty. Love was gross. Love is, well, in religion, look at religion, right? It's a sin, right? Making love to somebody, but killing people, it's okay. But and so in this scenario, you start to love somebody and you want to express it, but you're bound by those programs of the past, of society, right? You can like on TV, right? You can murder thousands of people, disgusting. There's movies, that the blood spurts out and stuff. They can show that, but it's not good to show like a love scene. And it doesn't have to be raunchy or pure naked, but just a normal love scene, right? You don't do that. That's disgusting. That should be banned and so on like that. That's kind of interesting, right? So in our society, although I would say, There's statistics that men, think about sex all the time, or based. You really do, and so does women, right? They want to be that, say, attractive person. So when that happens, again, love without lust. Just as to wrap it up, love without lust is that you love that person and so on, because of your underlying programs, hereditary patterns, and belief systems and so on. It's like you want to express your love and really connect to a spiritual love. But when you do that, all these patterns show up for you, right? I shouldn't do that. Whatever your parents told you when you were a teenager to protect you. How many parents did that to you women? By the way, they made love a sin, or it was dirty, or whatever it might be, to protect you. And then it's like, well, hopefully, they grow out of it. But again, it doesn't work out that way. So take a breath in. Let's help you understand that pattern more. So once you understand it, you go, you know what? I don't need to have that shit anymore. And then you can walk away from it. And this is where you can love somebody. You have that true basis. You have that true foundation with that individual. Now, both of you, right, can interact with each other and have deep lust. And then this is where you can come into, say, a timelessness of sensuality and sexuality with your partner. This is where love, or making love, doesn't grow old. It's always new. It's always fresh. You don't have to try something new. You don't have to do this, because it's not about the physical. It's more than the physical. It allows you to, again, feel the euphoria of the other person's spirit, especially if that true love is there. And then that becomes so, say, intoxicating. It's more intoxicating than the actual physical orgasm, which is quite amazing. And then what happens is that you don't get entangled. You feel the other person's, say, spirit or essence, and it feels euphoric. And then as you, say, disconnect, you separate and you define who you are even more. So it allows you to, again, enhance and love yourself even more. And this is where you get more entangled. And this is where the act of love making starts to become, well, a timeless thing, rather than just going through the motions, or, shit, I got to get my rocks off, that kind of deal. All right. So love without lust. And then when should you break up? Well, a lot of people, when they do break up, they go, shit, I should have done it 10 years ago, right? It's kind of crazy, right? So that's where, when you start to, when should you break up? Actually, you should break up before you get entangled. So think about it. You should break up before you commit. I know that sounds kind of weird, but all the signals. When you start to commit to that person, okay, uh, and when you start to commit to that person, when you start to go, gosh, you know what, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, and then you get that queasy feeling experience, okay, maybe it's not the right person for you. Okay, you're not afraid of connections, or a commitment. You just, maybe that's the wrong person, or maybe it's not the person. Maybe it's you, and it is you. So you should literally break up uh, before you commit. So this is telling you, again, when you get that queasy feeling, when somebody says, hey, you know what, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, or let's date, let's be a couple, right? You hear that a lot in the younger generations, right? Let's be a couple. That's a big commitment for somebody. So I would suggest taking it day by day and not committing, and see where it takes you. And this allows you the freedom to express yourself. This allows you to be that best version. Because once you commit, do you notice that you let go and you're not, say, your best possible self? So when you don't commit, you literally are always your best possible self for that person. So start to understand why. It's like, why are you taking extra work to be that better version of yourself for that other person? So instead of for that other person, why don't you do it for yourself? Be that best possible version for yourself. And when that becomes, say, a theme for you, when you're the best possible version of yourself, you're going to be a better version for that person outside of you. right? It's not a facade. It's not fake anymore. And that way you start to care for yourself. And that's where commitments actually work out. So take a deep breath in. This is also when you are feeling that twinge, it's like, hey, when you marry me, it's like, you know, and then you're not sure, but you go yes, because it's like, well, you're getting older, right? It's going to provide security for you. You lock down a person and so on and so on and so on. Did you notice that? It wasn't like, hey, will you marry me? And you felt that, say, extravagant feel, expansiveness, right? You didn't feel that. You did it logically. It's like, yeah, okay, well, I haven't dated in a long time, and I don't know if I'll ever date. So yeah, I'll marry you. I mean, you're saying that inside your head, right? But then, oh, honey, yes, of course. I love you so much. It's all bullshit. Anyway, so take a deep breath in. So when you find that twinge, okay, dig deeper. Why do you feel insecure about commitment? Why do you have that twinge about you? And again, it's not about the other person. Okay, I'm not saying break up with that person, especially if you're starting new. But ask yourselves, what is it in me that's allowing, uh, this type of relationship for me? Right? You always have fights and so on like that, and then now they're asking you to marry you. It's like, wow, do you want to continue that on? So when you make that commitment, or when you want to date, let's be a couple, look at your past, say, relationships, and then the current relationship that you're in. It's like, are there any similarities between the two? And then if there are, again, ask yourself, it's like, okay, what pattern is it am I running that allows me to attract a relationship like this? It's not about the person, because the next you dump this person, you go to the next person, and it becomes the same type of relationship. So again, these are great learning experiences for you to always say enhance and see where your weaknesses are. Goes back to jealousy and insecurities, shows you where your weaknesses are. The more that you love somebody, for example, that think of it this way: say that you meet somebody, okay? You meet somebody, and it's going great. You've dated a couple times and so on like that, and then it's, gosh, I think I'm falling in love with this person, and that's where you start to commit, right? I'm falling in love with this person, but then you become really, really insecure, and you become really, really insecure, and you go, and then it's like, gosh, you know what? I better hide my insecurities so this person doesn't find out, because I don't want to mess up the chance of going to that next level, right? The next base, so to speak, in love. And then what most people do again is they hide their insecurities, they disguise their insecurities and so on like that. Okay, or they keep secrets. This is how all that stuff plays out, and then you start to control, you start to get jealous, and you start to manipulate. You don't want to do that. So again, you have a fantastic time with each other. The next stage is you're falling in love, right? Things are getting a little more, say, entangled and so on like that. And then you become insecure as you go to the next stage. Well, this in your core or your genetics is basically going, oh, great. You found somebody that you could enhance yourself with. That's fantastic. Congratulations. But, to go to that next level, or to graduate to that next level, did you finish the requirements of the last level? That's all it's telling you. And then it just basically shows all your insecurities, not to destroy you and not to fuck you up or anything like that. It's just basically going, you know what? If you guys want to have a fantastic, say, graduation party here, or go to the next level and really enhance yourselves, well, you should leave these insecurities behind. Leave it at the door. So, but most people, like I said, they bury, disguise, manipulate, and so on like that. So what you want to do is like look at those insecurities that show up for you and go, shit, you know what? I don't need those. Clean that stuff up before you commit. And then you can go to the next level, nice and clean and pure, the both of you, right? All right. So hopefully you guys got something out of this. Take a deep breath in. You know what love really is? People always look for love on the outside to fulfill them, but you can't do that. It's a physical impossibility. It's not how love works. Principles of love does not work that way. Take a breath in again. Notice your center, so your sternum bone, where your ribs connect, and then all the way through. Love is a connection, or how connected you are to your higher self. The closer you are to your higher self, the deeper meaning of love, not the superficial meaning of love, starts to come into you. As you start to, say, connect deeper within yourself, you start to become more and more expansive of being. You start to love yourself more. You start to deserve more. And as you start to deserve more, well, your relationships are of a higher caliber. And then that relationship allows, say, fertile environment for you to know yourself more. Again, love is not an external. And then what? And then it's like a toric field. So you expand and grow on the inside, right? You've gotten rid of all your insecurities, so you're connected more. Your higher self, your lower, your time-bound self. There's no bullshit in between. And then you understand yourself at a deeper level. It creates an experience or a field around you. You attract that love or the environment or that person, right? That in that one intimate person that allows you to, again, create more of an expansiveness feel for you. And then again, just like a toric field, your inner field, you come out, and then as they create that environment for you, it elevates you to a higher level. And that's why you love that person on the outside. That's how love really works, by the way. Again, a love is, or your type of love. If you have abusive love, basically you're further down, or you're less attached to your higher self. The more connected love that you have, the more connected you are to your love. Okay. All right. So, how are you guys feeling, by the way? More like centered or more loving of yourself? All right. We'll move to the next step here where I scan people, and this we'll talk about the love relationships for you all. And you can say, hey Ma, scan me. I don't need to know your name. um, um, I don't need to know your name or anything like that. I don't need to know anything about you. You can have a fake name, fake identity, and just go scan me and I can read you. Okay, that's part of my abilities that I've had after 3 near deaths. And then if you want to connect with me, again, we do the impact sessions on, Moss on Sunday. So you can sign up for that. Maybe the team can put the link on there for those people who want to sign up for the impact sessions. They do go quite fast though. So once a month we do impact sessions where we can converse for about 5 minutes or so. But that 5 minutes is worth, say, lifetimes of therapy. Again, decades and decades worth of therapy. Again, those who have had impact sessions or sessions with me, again, would you say that those are worth 10 minutes with me is, again, decades worth of therapy or transformation or anything like that? So that's where you can do it one-on-one, and we can converse, or you can have a private session, or you can do the 18 days. Let me sit down here, guys. All right. So this one, Larry Hines would love a scan. Just give me a second, guys. I have to read this disclaimer. So this is Masati. Sunday. What's the date today? I should know. Sunday, March 19th. Now I lost my place. Sunday, March 19th, 2023. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't diagnose or heal. I can scan your frequency signature and tell you what I see. So please consult your doctor, financial analyst, or anything like that. If you ask to be scanned today, you're agreeing that we may use your session on any public media to help others understand. So remember, if you don't want us to share the information, then don't ask to be scanned. Again, there's private sessions and other ways of connecting with me privately. All contents are protected by copyright. You may not use our content in any way, shape, or form for any purpose without any written permission. And again, if you ask to be scanned, just do it once, please. So Larry Hines, yeah. So Larry, you are actually doing really well. So mm, you're doing really, really well. What you're doing is you've really cleaned up, which is really fantastic through what you're doing with XI, which is really again really fantastic for you. And then this next phase for you, which is really cool. This this next phase for you is that I don't know if you're actually physically moving, but you're moving into, say, another or a higher version of yourself. This is where you start to, again, you've cleaned out the superficial layers of yourself or a bit deeper, but now you're going to go deeper. You're going to go more introspective on it. And this is where you start to really understand what life is really about. This is where you start to let go of the deeper values, belief systems, and so on of, today's society. And this is where, again, you start to understand, say, that more expansive meaning of what life is really about. This is also as you define who you are, which is really fantastic. Your relationships will get more meaningful. Even if it's just, say, the person on the help desk and stuff, you have that connection, right? Or you'll get that connection with somebody. So if it's just, somebody serving you your coffee and you have a deeper connection, it's like, wow, you're human too. I'm human too, right? It's a deeper connection. So things work out better for you. People treat you nicer and so on like that. But imagine what that would be in an intimate relationship, right? If you can just connect with somebody, that's serving you coffee. What about that person that you can connect with, in an intimate relationship? You go much, much deeper. So you get more and more expansive because now you have two individuals that are awakened. So again, nice job. Nice job, Larry. And comment in if I read you or scan you, again, comment in and see how accurate that was for you. This one, Volarand, please scan my insecurities, Moss. Well, the good thing is, Vola, that you have got insecurities. A lot of your insecurities comes from, you don't have an identity of yourself. Okay, and that's the issue. You always are trying to reference yourself according to what other people think of you. Say, for example, when you're younger, your mom always told you what to do, what to act like, what to dress like, again, how to think and so on like that. From what I'm seeing, again, early teens for you. So what that means is, like, even if you're not present with your mom, like your mom isn't there every day, even if she's long gone, she's out, she's left this world, basically that filter is running you, Bola. Okay, and that's where your insecurities come from. So again, you're getting to the point. The good thing is, from what I'm seeing, whatever XI that you've been doing, you know, is that the good thing is, like, what? I need to have my own identity. And that's where you are. It's like, gosh, I need to be Bola. So this is really exciting for you, or an exciting moment for you, where you start to separate yourself. It's like, yeah, you know what? My mom was good, or maybe she was bad, but I don't need to be that version. I don't need to adopt. For you, Bola, what happens in relationships is that, you hang out with somebody too long and then they become like your mother, right? That person becomes, so you attract people that kind of create, say, that mother theme for you. And then what happens is that you start thinking like they do. And again, you lose your identity. So that's that general theme. And it creates insecurities. That's where your original insecurities come from. Always absorbing or identifying or being the Vola that other people, because and again, it's not that they're pushy. That's a different frequency. It's just that there's you didn't learn how to be your own person. So in this, where you are now, it's like, gosh, you know what? I need to be my own person, and that's where your insecurities just like start to vanish as you start to define yourself more. So again, nice job. Let's see. Who's this? Beverly Day. Well, I don't know if you have head issues from what I'm seeing. Again, not a doctor or anything like that, but maybe in your family, you might want to check. Oh, just a second. Yeah, it seems like maybe when you were younger, sometimes I don't know if you breathed in toxins when you were younger and so on like that. or you take too many minerals. I just see a lot of heavy metals, in your brain. Again, I could be way off. I could be a madman. So again, consult with your doctor, or again, if you have headaches, tension in your head, uh, all that, Beverly, that's where it comes from. Again, too much minerals. You could be making taking too much supplements or minerals, the good minerals. But then if you take too much, your body doesn't know what to do with it, and it stores it, unfortunately, in your case, in the brain. So if you're taking too many supplements, maybe back out a bit, and then also you might want to do like a heavy mental cleanse or something like that. To Also, part of that too is you're a little bit more sensitive to foods. So foods that aren't, say, foods that are genetically modified, again, your body doesn't know what to do with it. Again, it's like, what the hell is it? This isn't sugar. It tastes like sugar. It's sweet, but it doesn't feel like sugar to your body, and your body doesn't know what to do with it. And this is where you get diabetes and so on like that, right? Because there's no sensors for the fake sugars, or for the fake food, and that messes you up as well. But anyway, back to your love type relationships. Since you're always in your head, you start to, say, wander off. So as you get into the longer type relationship, you feel like you're not there. You feel that or you feel your partner feels like, gosh, you know what, Beverly's not paying attention to me. Although you're very caring, although you would do all the right things to make that feel, because you're an actual nice, genuine lover, which is really nice. But that other person would never receive that love, because it's it's what point in time are you doing it? Since you're out of your body will feel blank, and you're always in your head. This is where sexuality, sensuality, and so on like that is like, gosh, what's all the big hubbub about, why is sex so so pervasive and so on like that? It's like, I don't get anything out of it, right? So maybe getting a little too personal, but it's just like, gosh, I need more. Well, you need to be in your body more, Beverly. So that's a theme. And again, I think it's as you age, or if you look at your elders are the type of they age, and it's like mom or grandma is there physically, but you can see, in their eyes that they're not there, right? I don't know where they are, but they're not there. So that's that. So what you can do, again, the 18 days and so on like that, or maybe you have started, but that's where you are today. Yeah. So take a breath in, Beverly. And again, as I work on one individual, I work on others as well. There we go. So let's help you put you into your body, and I can see why you're not in your body. A lot of fear when you were younger, and maybe some patterns of abuse. Maybe not you, but again, patterns of abuse in your family, or a lot of fear from your mom, for example. So she's always trying to protect you and so on. Again, she's heady here, and again, you attracted that fear, by the way. So again, as you pull into your body, which messes up your brain, by the way. All right. So, Stephanie, please scan my love without lust. Yep, you're the perfect example, Stephanie. So that's where, again, a lot of cultural or a lot of religious values. And you might go, well, that's not true because my parents weren't that religious, especially your father doesn't seem that religious. But your mother trying to be a nice person, right? That comes from a religious value. But if you look like the next generation back, your grandparents, and then beyond, there's a lot of heavy religion in you, and then it's kind of weird, a lot of heavy religion, and then it just like boom, it dropped for some reason, the past, say, generation or two. But that doesn't mean that you moved away from, say, those religious beliefs or tactics. Those religious beliefs or tactics are in you physically. You might not be practicing. So that's where you have love without lust. Okay, this is where you might feel dirty. This is where the closer you get, or the more love you get, or the more, say, sexual that you get, the sexual desires, right, that you get. Well, the more dirtier you feel, and then you start to shun away from that. And as you shun away from that, well, you can't have that lust, right? Because if you go into that lust, well, you're not going to be clean. You're not going to be pure. You're certainly not going to go to heaven. So again, that's the backdrop of your patterns, and hence you love without lust. Okay, this is where a lot of women, unfortunately, they, and again, comment in, the women out there and the men as well. Comment in, and this is where you start to awaken. You start to feel the vibrancy of who you are, with whatever you've done with XI, the 18 days, or anything else that sessions or anything like that. This is where you start to understand who you are, and then you become really sensual. You become a sensual being, and you want to have sex, but then it's like, nah, I don't want to, because everybody else, you don't have sex just to have physical sex, right? You have sex because you want to go to the next level. So the normal sex that you had in the past, it's like, well, gosh, I don't want to do that. Why the hell would I want to dirty myself? So it's like you become sensual and you become, say, lustful of having a connection. But then it's like at the same time, it's like, no, no, no. So that's good. Um, which is really good. So that's where you are, Stephanie. Okay. Let's take a deep breath in. Let's see. This one, oops. And again, guys, if I scan you, please comment in. I know I'm accurate, but it gives you a good solid reference point. This is a Tila store. Please help clear these patterns in me and my love. Yep. So what you run is cycles. You're always in a circular pattern. You get to the point where um, you get to the point you rise, whether it's your career, whether it's your love relationship, it gets better and better and better and better and better. And then all of a sudden it's kind of like those rides, where, the roller coaster rides, right? You go higher and higher and higher and higher, and it's thrilling, exciting. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, life dumps on you. And that's the cycle that you and the people that you attract run. So where does that come from? Take a breath in. There we go. So take a breath in. So that cycle comes from being too good and shame. So what that means is like, um, is that as you ascend higher and higher, whether it's in success or love, okay, that next phase for you, it's like this is where shame comes in for you, deep shame. This is where deep shame comes in. And then what happens for you is that you would have to abuse yourself or something like that to break down or cut you down into, say, again, a lower level. And then you feel okay. So it's kind of a pressure release for you. So it's a different kind of abuse. So it's a pressure release, and then you build that pressure up to the point where you can escape it. But what you always do, again, you go to that pressure where you can go to the next level. So take a breath in. So this time, as you go to the next level, you'll hover there. And this is where you get to see the patterns that always like pull you down. So when you feel guilt, when you feel shame and so on like that, is it too, I lost the person's name. Start to see it. Okay. Start to analyze it, and then go, do I need to be guilty of anything that I'm doing? So those types of context in your brain. And then this allows you to go, no, you know what, those are old patterns, I don't need that. And then you move forward. Okay. Somebody was saying I'm sensual already. I was already sensual. It's really fantastic. But a lot of times, women do their sensuality, they exude that sensuality, but then there's a lot of weakness or insecurities on the inside, right? So they're very, very, very sensual on the outside, going, hey, you know what? I'm very sensual. I'm very, positive. I know who I am, right? I know I am comfortable with my sexuality. But again, that's proving yourself that you're insecure. So be mindful of that. This is where also, men are like, say, insecure, right? And then they go, look, I have all this money, therefore I am secure, right? For women, it's like, look, I have all the looks, I have all the body parts and so on, therefore I am secure. That's the same kind of pattern. So again, you need to pull back and go, gosh, am I secure on the inside? And when you're secure on the inside, your sexual sensuality just oozes out anyway. Master creator, I feel insecure. Tela, yes, so awesome. Thank you for scanning. Let's see, this illuminated days. Hey, could you scan me, please? Sure. So for you, you're starting to see, or you're starting to awaken from maybe spiritual beliefs or religious beliefs or whatever that is. It seems like you've studied a lot, or you've done a lot of, say, spiritual activities, or seminars and teachings and so on like that. And whatever you're doing with XI basically is like you're awakening and going, God, you know what? That's probably not true. What they taught me or what I believed in. So you're getting to that point. You're starting to go, what? You know what? All these things that people believe in, not very accurate. Because you're coming into, say, a higher version of, say, accuracy or truth. So congratulations there. As far as sensuality, sexuality, or relationships, this is where you, again, your abilities are coming in. Again, whatever you've done with XI, you can see people and you go, oh, okay, I understand what they're saying. So you start to see their underlying, say, currency or the underlying intent on why they're saying or why they're acting the way they do, which is really good for relationships because then you can bypass the bullshit, the surface, say, layer, right, of trying to impress people and so on like that. You can go to the core of that person and go, oh, that person is, say, pure. They might be a little fucked up at the surface, but again, they have a good pure core. So again, congratulations. So that's where you are. Nice job. We'll take one more. This one, I hope Moss chooses you, Jacqueline. I don't, oh, well, I can just, let's tap into Jacqueline. Uh, so, so Jacqueline. So, um, and by the way, I'm not psychic or anything like that. It's a whole different level of intuition. So, Jacqueline, I don't know if there's somebody dying around you, or sick around you, or older around you, or something like that. Whoever that is, and they might have died a long time ago, but you're carrying the burdens or the heaviness of their patterns. Again, there's a lot of heaviness. There's a lot of, say, darkness, so to speak. Again, overall heaviness that doesn't allow you to be your best possible self. So you're always, and then what you do, Jacqueline, is then you start to help more and more people. Like, because if you help more and more people, it's like, well, you'll feel better. But that's only momentary. You basically would would you know you're burdened by maybe a mom or whoever that passed away, one of your parents, and then you help more people, and basically it's like, yeah, throw your burdens on the burden that I'm already carrying, and then it gets worse and worse for you. So you're starting to go, shit, you know what? I don't need to do that. So, which is really nice, Jacqueline. So you're disconnecting, and this is where you might not like people, or you try to be nice, but again, you're trying to be nice. So it doesn't work out. So allow yourself to be mean or whatever for the momentary, but what you're actually doing is just like, no, you know what? I don't want to take on your burdens anymore. Simple as that. And then when you don't do that, you have a chance to clean out, and it's great. Spring cleaning, by the way, right? You have a chance to clean up for you. All right, guys, we could go on and on, but again, we want to enjoy the beautiful day or night, wherever you are. So as we end, notice what you notice. Notice the details of what you're noticing. There's a frequency amplification meditation, by the way, coming up March 20th. So what's the date today? March 19th. Yeah, so that's tomorrow, as March 20th. Frequency amplification. So what that is, so whether you're, a healer, a doctor, a practitioner that helps people, or you're an accountant or anything like that, a CEO, so on like that, it's a frequency meditation where I'm silent, and then basically you play that in the background, and it creates a strong, say, environment for you. And then you become more and more, say, intuitive. More and more, you start to use the power within, and so you just play it in the background. You can, cover it up, mask it up with other, music or anything like that. You won't hear anything, but it amplifies the bigger version, the stronger, powerful version that you are. All right, and then also. Personal optimization, it's on consciousness, what consciousness means, how to access higher levels of consciousness. That's coming up on April 3rd. All right, guys. All right. So as we end, guys, again, notice what you notice the details. And if you're not liking what you're noticing, well, start to ask yourself those questions that we talked about earlier, right? Start to ask yourself those questions and then change. All right. Peace, guys.